how technically Azarian did in fact probably break the law by putting locks on a property that he was not, legally allowed to do so.
Did you hear that? The city attorney, who gives legal advice to the council, which we haven't always agreed with, but in this particular instance, he had it dead nuts right. And now we've got Edwin Santiago, your alderman.
Be careful. I want you to show respect. That's my alderman.
I don't care what you want, George.
You got to behave yourself now.
Welcome back to Talking Racine. This is the first episode in year 5, under the tutelage of Mr. Jim Spodek, esteemed producer of this show. Mr. George Myers, you're the chief statistician and number cruncher. I'm Dr. Ken Jorgen, your host. And we're going to watch a video clip here right off the bat and probably make some comments on it during it. This is the meeting of the Building Commission?
No, Public Works.
Public Works. And they're making a decision about a bid being, or a contract giving out on a bid to demolish the old Park Capitol Theater on Washington Avenue up there by West Street. So go ahead and fire it up, Jim, and we'll make some rude remarks during the middle of it here.
I'm concerned at the email that I received this afternoon of the lowest responsible bidder putting locks on the theater and the owner not being able to get in to retrieve his personal items. So that feels to me that that's not being responsible.
What she's talking about there is the lowest responsible bidder has already been determined. And it turns out to be a very well-known name here in the community, Azarian Wrecking. And he knew that he was the lowest bidder, and by law, the city has to give the contract to the lowest responsible bidder, which would be Azarian in this case. So he knew he was like the lowest bidder. He knew he had the contract coming. He went over and secured the building by putting some padlocks on the door, and that's what she's talking about. So go ahead and...
Well, however, given our financial challenges for the city, for us to pay an additional $24,000 to the second bidder that's in line, I feel that that's fiscally irresponsible, urging us to vote for the lowest bidder.
Okay, the lowest bidder was Sam Azarian. It was about right around $200,000. The next lowest bid was $225,000, somewhere in that range. And they're wondering, well, should we take this bid away from the lowest bidder because he put locks on the doors, which is a common practice in this situation, and give it to the next bidder? Would it be fiscally responsible? Well, of course, the answer is no, but they're still going to discuss it.
You would have to go to the next bidder, and that's my understanding. Am I correct, Commissioner Rooney?
The whole point of going to the next bidder is that the staff would determine and deem them either non-responsive or non-responsible. What that usually means is there was an irregularity in their bid. They didn't fill out all the proper forms in the bid. They didn't submit a bid bond. And they have such a number of irregularities in their bids submitted. That's when staff lets the committee know that while they submitted the lowest bid, they're not responsive because their contract wasn't submitted, their bid wasn't submitted properly. So that's usually within the boundaries that you work when you then award a contract to the next lowest responsible bidder. So unless there's a case to be made either by the purchasing agent or the city attorney, because we didn't administer the bids, that there is something that would deem them non-responsive or not responsible, I don't see how you would want to award it to the next bidder. I think that would present some real challenges for the city by the low bidder if they weren't awarded it and they had been responsive and responsible.
Basically, what Rooney was doing there, he was listing some possible ways that you would go to the next highest bidder. He was not listing things that Azarian had done so that they could go to the next responsible bidder. He just said, for instance, if they didn't have the form filled out right or something like that.
Bonding.
Yeah, or wasn't bonded. Those were reasons to go away from it. Azarian was not guilty of any of that. He had everything filled out perfectly fine.
He clarified that too.
Yeah, and he clarified at the end. But just so you understand that he wasn't. That there was nothing wrong with Azarian's bid. It was all.
And if you'd listen to him closely, he's saying, "I don't understand why you wouldn't take the lowest responsible bid, because he would have basically some recourse. Because, like Doc said, it really is not legal to. If he's responsible, he's done it before. He understands it. He really does have a case.
He's going to have a lawsuit. Yeah. Violation of the law.
So actually, they would be violating the law or the statute or the ordinance or whatever the heck it is that governs this. They would be violating that and costing the taxpayers another $25,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's saying, there's no reason to do this.
Okay, we're going to get into now Scott Letney, and then after that, we're going to watch the discussion of this. This console.
Thank you, ma'am. This is Scott Letney. I'm sure everybody knows the name Azarian and Azarian Wrecking. The city's been doing business with the Azarian businesses for many years. There's nothing that staff has seen in the bid proposal from Azarian that would suggest they are not responsible. And I just want to address the padlocking of the doors. I mean, we all wish they hadn't done that. It may have come from a misunderstanding. Whatever the reason was, I don't see that is grounds for determining they are not a responsible bidder. It's a completely different issue as to whether or not they can responsibly complete the contract. And the law requires for public works contracts, which this is, that the Common Council award a contract to the lowest responsible bidder.
He got it right, guys.
Yeah.
Did you see Mason doing this?
Yeah, I saw him. He was getting a little twitchy.
Yeah. That's a signal. That's a Q signal. Yeah. I see where Corey's going.
Oh my God! And he is a Mason by name.
Yes, absolutely. There's way more going on there than you think.
What's his middle name? Illuminati?
Anyway, Scott actually got it right.
Yes, he did. And he explained, like Rooney explained, now he has explained that Azarian's the guy.
Well, hey, listen, now these aldermen, they're going to do the right thing. They're going to give it to the lowest bidder now. He's been told by the city attorney.
I want to tell you, this was a long meeting, so we're going through
it.
Molly Jones is asking the attorney, is that right? Is that right? Is that right? So she's been constantly asking the attorney, is that right? Is this right? So now he's giving her direct advice, saying, listen,
that's right.
This is right. What are they going to do?
And why did he say, a lot of us wish he wouldn't have done that? What would have happened if Sam hadn't gone over and secured that building and vandals got in there and destroyed a bunch of stuff? And the building's going to come down anyway, but there's some things in there that the
former owner wanted. So I guess they called the city. They went over there, unlocked the building, got it. I mean, it was a misunderstanding or whatever.
A minor inconvenience, it
didn't make them irresponsible.
No, not at all.
It wasn't something that probably should be even discussed.
Exactly.
How did somebody bring up something picayunish like that?
Well, that's a good question. But it is the Racine City Council, so there's always that potential.
These are real aldermen we're looking here?
Well, here it goes.
No, but they stayed at the Holiday Inn Executive Suite last night.
To approve recommendation.
Second. Been motion and second to approve Azarian for raising of the Park Capitol Theater. Any questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The chair is going to say no.
I say no as well.
So we have 2 in favor, 2 against.
Seeing as how technically Azarian did in fact probably break the law by putting locks on a property that he was not, legally allowed to do
Did you
so.
hear that? The city attorney, who gives legal advice to the council, which we haven't always agreed with, but in this particular instance, he had it dead nuts right. And now we've got Edwin Santiago, your
Hey,
alderman.
be
Your
careful.
alderman.
I want you to show respect. That's my alderman.
I don't care what you want, George.
You guys behave yourself now.
But he's inferring that Sam probably broke the law.
I know.
He just got an opinion from the city attorney that he didn't do anything illegal. And
Oh,
now
my
probably broke the
He
law.
probably broke the law. So
By
here's
putting a lock on a door that was left open for vandals.
To secure a building.
and secured it, yes.
Well,
that was probably a violation of the law.
he's calling that shot. Okay, so when you go through this, wouldn't you start saying, okay, what is the contract? Let's look. Can I look at the contract or ask about the contract? They don't ask anything about the contract. Here it is. He assumes that this is a criminal activity by the Zarian, and we got to throw this bid out, this $200,000 bid out. We're going to spend $25,000 more.
Do I see a more relaxed look on Corey's face there?
Yeah,
Is he leaning
yeah.
back a little bit? Is he liking this? Maybe.
Oh, why is he here?
And that's what I was just going to say. What the hell is he doing watching all these council meetings? I mean, is his home life that boring? My God.
Anyway, so I when I first thought of that, I thought, well, what if there were two contractors there and they're both bidding on a building? They got into a fight in the building. The cops came and gave them both disorderly conduct tickets. Now, would you have to go to the third bidder now?
No, I think you give the bid to the contractor that kicks the other contractor's ass.
Whoever won the fight.
I mean, these guys, here's the problem, and it'll be all seriousness. Nobody's got any kind of business sense on there. I mean, you really look at it and you think, this is your console that
Wait. Those aren't Fortune 500 executives we're looking at there?
I'm like, this is not brain surgery. Oh, my God.
But I did play Monopoly last night.
I would like to motion to contract the bid with the next lowest responsible bidder.
Which would be Vite, $225,000.
It's been motion and second that we go with the next highest bidder because the other motion failed. All those in favor, please let it be known by the sign aye.
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 Opposes?
No.
Hey, there you go. Way to go, Jen. You
Yeah.
came through for Corey there.
Oh, my gosh.
We're pretty suspicious about this whole process. We think
Every
we're just speculating that Corey's sitting in and maybe making some text messages during the course.
You can't
of
have
this meeting.
Azarian get any kind of money out of it. Now, you have to remember, Azarian is in a legal battle over the relocation on Machinery Row. So there's a lawsuit out there. So if I was Sam's attorney, Sam Azarian's attorney, I would be firing off a letter right now. And, is Mr. Azarian being harassed by the city council? I mean, was there an alternative motive here to harm my client?
Retribution, they call it.
I think they do.
That's one possibility.
I mean, Molly Jones, let's just take a second here and think about this. Molly Jones is constantly asking the city attorney, am I doing this right? Am I doing it? All of a sudden it comes in, he directly says the lowest responsible bidder, basically spells it out for her. She goes against the grain.
Yeah, then she becomes an independent thinker.
Yeah. Something's wrong here.
Don't do it, Molly.
Molly, quit thinking. Really. All right.
Okay, we still got some...
No, this is it.
That's it?
I'm going to switch it back.
That's enough. Okay. Okay, that was fun, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to move on to our favorite topic right now. Everybody's whipping boy. Foxconn. Foxconn's back on the horizon. And it has to do with a water agreement that they contracted with the city of Racine. Theoretically, we're going to need an awful lot of water to build and process these gigantic computer screens that were going to be built out there. And how many they got built so far?
Somewhere.
Yeah, there's somewhere out there.
Well, if you don't have any workers, how are you going to build screens? How many workers have they got?
I don't know.
10?
Nothing. I mean, it's a nothing out there.
Well, anyway, there is a contract between the city of Racine, which borrowed like $26 million, was it?
Something like that. Almost 27
Bonded $26 million to make improvements to water infrastructure to supply the Foxconn facility. And then, of course, Mount Pleasant was going to pay it back incrementally through the years. And they were scheduled, according to this, to be completed with paying back that $26 million in 2035.
The fact is that Mount Pleasant is paying right along.
Supposed to pay, yeah.
And once the Foxconn employed apparently 13,000 employees, it was going to kind of ramp up at that point to kind of quickly pay back the city of Racine. Well, there's no employees, and the bills are starting to come due now, and to the tune of $1.34 million, Mount Pleasant has to pay the city water department this year. Mount Pleasant does. So.
Well, they didn't actually, according to this graph, they're actually scheduled to begin paying back on that loan or that bond in the year 2023. But, beginning in 2019, which is that's like 2 years ago now, they were supposed to begin showing some income from Foxconn.
Well,
in order to pay the city of
Mount
Racine
Pleasant's
back.
on the hook, put it that way. The city of Racine is going to want that $26 million back. And and if they don't get that money back, the water rates in the city of Racine will increase. That was the reason that they did the improvements. They didn't need the improvements for the city of Racine's water. They needed it for Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant, we're going to pay you back. Well, now Mount Pleasant's in the position they're going to have to pay that water, those dollars back, and they do not have the revenue coming in from Foxconn to offset that water. And of course, the city of Racine is anticipating selling more water. 7 million gallons a day was that one time.
7.5 million, I think, something like that.
So again, Foxconn is falling short. We said that back in 2017. Way aggressive on their projections.
Well, they could make it a big, gigantic water bottling plant out there.
There's a lot of reasons. Water is valuable. There's no question about it. But do the citizens of Mount Pleasant, Racine, Caledonia want certain things in these areas? I mean, I'm not sure that this just was a poor move from the beginning, and everybody got on board. Now everybody's running from it.
Well, it's the way this is scheduled. It should have been completed in 2035. Racine should have gotten all the money back that Mount Pleasant would owe them for this project. Now that was supposed to begin in 2019. We're in 2021, so that unless they really accelerate their income, which is not very likely, then they're not going to complete it by 2035. That's going to push out a couple more years. What is that going to do?
Either it pushes them out a couple more years, or Mount Pleasant is just going to pay right out of pocket.
That's going to
and that's
raise the cost of the loan. Or
as you get to the middle of this, down around 2027, in the middle of this whole payment schedule, the water usage goes up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And if they're falling short of what they promised to produce, I mean, it's one thing to get started. It's another thing to say, okay, we started late, but we're going to reach all our goals eventually. But the way it's looking right now, they not only started late, but they're not even going to reach all their goals. So this could come out way short. And we were concerned about that when we first heard the program, because this was a 30-year program in an area where technology is changing so rapidly. It's really hard to predict what you're going to be doing even 5 years down the road, let alone 10 or 30 years down the road. So it was a very, very risky situation, and
here's a number.
It's not looking too good right now.
Here's a number. Before Foxconn the debt Mount Pleasant had was roughly $26 million. They've got $26 million in debt just on the water supplies out there now, on Little Mount Pleasant.
I got an idea, and I think, given the history of the village board out there, I think I could sell them this idea. Start building backyard swimming pools out there at the Foxconn complex and sell them pre-filled.
Yeah, it comes with water.
Huh? Yeah, I bet you
they're buying it anyway.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Well, we got another thing that we want to mention, and that's the fact that we told people, feel free to give us some feedback. Mentioned that last week, and we've gotten some feedback. People have been sending letters in, and they're very nice.
Yeah. Well, we had one, and I just want to mention this one. The guy wrote in, and I thought it was actually funny because we talked about Facebook, getting off Facebook, moving from Facebook more to the website talkingracine.com. Go to it, sign up to
One of the
follow.
reasons was
Well, we're being, it's all censoring going on. We don't know where we're going to be. We want to archive, and I use the word archive on Facebook, which is not really archiving. I mean, Facebook, poof, gone. Well, somebody writes in and said, archiving on Facebook is like calling Pick and Save a food museum. And I thought it was hilarious,
it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Hey, if you got any more like that,
Yeah, we like that. Yeah, that's funny.
share them with us.
We had one where we all bent out at the same time, and obviously they said, you're blinding us out here when you all bend over together.
On 3, everybody bend forward. 1, 2, 3.
Hope that didn't blind you.
Yeah, just like Liz said.
Hey, if you can still see next Monday, come on back and look at us again. Thank you. We enjoyed having you.